So my name is Adam Miller. I'm moderating the panel today for talking about OpenJS. There's been a whole lot of work that has gone into this, and this can just be between you and me. We won't tell the panelists, but how many people know what the JS foundations do and how much work they put in, and have interacted with them a lot and should probably be up here on this panel? Okay, I see a few hands. Who knows that the foundations exist and kind of know what they do, but really couldn't give a talk on it or be on the panel here? No. Okay. And who's like, wait, we're talking about foundations? We're talking about open source, right? Why is there a foundation involved? Okay. Cool. Well, we have done a lot of work. We've done a lot of work recently to merge together the Node Foundation and the JavaScript Foundation into the OpenJS Foundation. It has been about a 10-month process or more, and we're really excited to share with you what we've been doing. So there's an awesome panel here of people who have been absolutely rocking it on the foundation formation side. And yeah, I guess we'll go down the line and do intros here. Jory, do you want to kick it off?
Yes. Hi, my name is Jory Burson. I was a member of the TAC of the JS Foundation, which is now, of course, the OpenJS Foundation. And I work with the OpenJS Foundation now as sort of a concierge to the projects. And I work with an organization called Oasis and Boku, where I do a lot of standards work.
I'm Michael Dawson. I'm IBM's community lead for Node.js. That means I get to spend a lot of time in the Node.js community. I'm on the technical steering committee, and had the great privilege to participate in a lot of the work we did in putting together the governance for the OpenJS Foundation.
Hi, I'm Tracy Hines. I wear a few hats. I work as head of platform at Samsung Next for day hours. I also sit on the board of OpenJS Foundation, and before that worked on the Node.js Foundation and helped build up the community committee as a top-level committee. And I also run a nonprofit called GatherScript, which helps build more inclusive web conferences stateside for now, and provide a financial umbrella for community-run conferences that don't have that set up for themselves.
Hi, I'm Miles. I'm a developer advocate for Google Cloud Platform. As of right now, I'm Google's board representative as a platinum level board member and the vice chair of the board of the OpenJS Foundation. Prior to that, during the merger, I was the TSC's elected representative on the board. In the original structure of the Node.js Foundation, there were 3 board seats that were for community members, and Tracy had one of them, and I was representing the other group. I've talked enough. Adam?
Awesome. And like I said before, I'm Adam Miller. I'm the current community committee chairperson for Node. And in the daytime, I work at LinkedIn, focused on design systems and front-end build systems. So we can't really talk about the future of the foundation without kind of looking to the past. And I'd love to get just like a quick synopsis, TLDR, on the Node Foundation and the JavaScript Foundation. Jory, do you want to kick it off? Give us the brief description of what the JSF is?
Yeah, sure. So a lot of people may not realize that the JavaScript community has had a foundation working on behalf of open source projects for a long time. Back in the mid-2000s, we had the jQuery project that got wildly popular, and we created a foundation for jQuery that added projects over time. It later merged with what was the Dojo Foundation, which had a handful of projects itself, and kind of just, that was about 4 years ago, and so that was when we became the JS Foundation, and we've been sort of rocking along in sort of the behind the scenes for quite some time.
And the Node.js Foundation was formed in 2015 to provide a neutral place where a number of different groups within the Node community could come together and work on figuring out how to move things forward into the future. There was a few sort of key things that were important, which I think we'll see flow through to what we see in the OpenJS Foundation, which was strong technical independence for the projects, as well as that neutrality where if anybody comes in and participates and contributes, they can they have all the tools and all the access that they need to make things happen. And again, I think that's something that we'll see reflected in what we talk about in the OpenJS Foundation as well. And I think from my perspective, I think it's worked really well. It was the September of 2015 we reunited the 4.x IOJS and the former joint node streams, and we've seen like consistent and reliable releases ever since then. So I think it's a good sign of the stability and the ability for everybody to get in and work together on that front.
Yeah, and I know early on when it was just in early discussions about the two foundations merging, there was a good bit of uncertainty about whether it should happen, whether this was the right time to do it. And I know a lot of you fielded a lot of those concerns early on. I was hoping you could answer maybe why now and why merge.
Can you repeat that one more time really quickly?
Why are we merging now, and why,
Yes, sorry.
What's the reason for the merge?
It's been a long couple days.
It's a little warm.
So there's a number of different reasons to consider merging foundations. If you go and look at the bylaws of the foundation itself, right in there, we claim that we want to be a center of gravity for the JavaScript ecosystem. And prior to there being one primary foundation, it wasn't really clear. And it's hard because Node was the main project in the Node.js Foundation, and joining something bigger means giving some stuff up. And there's an anecdote that I really like. When I kind of started getting into the Node.js ecosystem, when I had just moved to California, I got, D-Shaw got me a free ticket to go to a conference called Node Summit. And this was right around the time of the fork, and they were talking about merging. And I have no shame, so I walked right up to Scott Hammond, at the time the CEO of Joyent, and asked him, why would you put Node in a foundation? And he had a great answer, which was, it's much better to have a smaller piece of a bigger pie. And to me, when I think about these foundations, and we just had our summit recently, which was fantastic, and so many new faces in the room that weren't there before, we just massively expanded the scope of the work that we can do, who we can work with, how we can work with them. We get to revisit all of these kind of preconceived notions. When Node first went in the foundation, it was very reactive. We had things we needed to protect and fix. But now we can be really proactive, and we can start thinking about what we want to build.
Yeah, I'll just throw in 2 sentences. Like, it just made me think we all know that we can accomplish a lot more than we could on our own as an individual, so it's kind of the same thing for a larger foundation.
Yeah, and sort of wearing the Node hat, there was a lot of skepticism when we were talking about a merger. And not, I wouldn't necessarily say it was very balanced. It was a lot from the Node side. And again, it was because we had experienced going through, I think, a pretty tumultuous foundation formation not too many years ago. And Node was finally feeling like a stable place, sort of firing on all cylinders. We were working together in the community and the TSC. But I think as part of that, we ended up seeing how bringing in the upstream components in the JS ecosystem, that like we were stronger when we were doing that together. And so by focusing on these sorts of things that we had already learned, transparency, including, not just including, giving autonomy to the project members so that they could run and host these meetings. We ran weekly meetings when it came to the merger discussions and planning, so that whoever wanted to drive the planning from particular initiative phases of making this merger happen, it was only going to happen if people showed up and did the work, and that was from the project side, not from the board side.
Yeah, I'll just add that on the JS Foundation side, like we immediately saw the benefit of possibly like merging with the Node ecosystem because all of our projects really rely on Node. At the same time, there was some like, fear and uncertainty because there was a lot of historical drama and energy from the community that may be disruptive to what was otherwise fairly stable projects. And so, with that sort of, optimism, but cautious optimism in mind, everybody got really excited about the possibility of collaborating more closely with their peers on the Node side through one umbrella. And I think that's kind of what put us over the edge.
And one of the things that, building on what both Tracy and Joya were saying, from the get-go, we approached this from an egalitarian mindset. We made the doors open. We tried to be hyper-inclusive as much as possible. If you were a member or committer, and even then we weren't really that picky, basically if you wanted to show up to those meetings and you weren't being disruptive, you had a voice and a seat at the table and were participating. And I think that was really important to make sure that this could be successful.
Yeah. I was just going to say, we looked at the governance for a number of the different projects, so the Node project, the JS Foundation, Kubernetes, and I'm really happy that we actually, I think, ended up with something which is probably the most open, has the most opportunity, and I'm hopefully the best place where people will want to come and will attract a lot of good people through that. So I'm really happy that by looking at that, we ended up with that open and really nice governance.
And I think that and all of this drives home that the value of this work is always project driven, and that's the point of the foundation, is to help empower and give autonomy to the projects and get sort of the crap out of the way for them to be able to do their good work.
Yeah, I think what I've heard on that front is we talk about great projects, and the focus will be on those great projects, not the foundation itself.
Yeah, so let's dig into some of that nitty-gritty. I mean, almost everybody in the room here is an engineer, and I've always held the opinion that governance is just coding, but with words. It's really what it's felt like over the past 10 months, and we actually have a bit of a visual aid here as we talk about it, but let's dive into some of the more nitty-gritty details here under the hood of what's kind of making this new foundation tick, and we can talk about some of the backstory and reasoning behind these sections of the foundation. Yeah, so I mean, let's take it from the top. We'll go OpenJS board. Let's talk about their functionality, and we'll work our way down. Yeah.
So just to start out with, I talked a little bit about the governance. We end up having multiple levels, so there are observers. Anybody who wants to can come up and actually participate in the meetings. We want to get as many different ideas to come to the best answers. We then have regular members who can actually, people in my mind who have said, I'm making a commitment to be involved regularly, and they can be recognized for that. And again, both observers and regular members are involved in all of the work that goes on. And then finally, we have voting members where, in the rare cases where we need to actually have a vote on something, it's that subset who will do that vote. Now, our experience in the Node project, at least, has been that votes are very rare. We follow a consensus-seeking approach, and so really, it's going to be all of those members who have ownership and who push things forward. And so it shouldn't really matter which level you're in, but we have to just have the different levels for the contingencies.
One thing that I can add, a mantra I would tell myself was that we wanted to create structures and hierarchies of responsibility rather than power. So there isn't fundamentally a major power balance between any of the members of any of the projects. Being a voting member just means you're more responsible. You need to be showing up. You need to be making sure that things are getting finished. But you don't get to just shut down another person's voice because you have that responsibility.
Yeah, the governance is really written so that all the responsibilities of the CPC are the responsibilities of all the members as opposed to anybody in particular.
I want to talk a little bit about the projects, if we can, the staging, because I think for me, this was a big, bringing all these JS Foundation projects on board. It was really important to me that they felt that they had a voice in the process and they could really see themselves and where they were going to drive value and get services and that sort of thing from the organization. So we came up with this proposal that was loosely based on the CNCF model of impact projects, growth stage projects, at-large projects, and what's not pictured here are emeritus projects, which we have 6 projects that we sort of deemed, and the projects themselves opted into this stage, functionally complete. We recognize and thank them for the contributions they made to the community, but we're not really encouraging people to go contribute to those projects or adopt those projects now. But so we have 5 impact projects, which are sort of the projects that a real kind of need to have some resources and support on a very active basis from the foundation. They're used heavily in enterprise, and they need that backing. We have 6 growth projects, and that stage is for projects that have a specific objective in mind, like there is a goal. I want to grow my contributor base. I want to increase the number of implementations. I want to put on an event or something like that. They have some specific goal for which they need extra resources from the foundation for a short period of time, growth stages for those projects. And then we have 15 at-large projects, which are projects that don't really, they're fine, they're kind of doing their thing, their resource needs are pretty set, and we don't have to do too much to support that.
One thing I can add from the at-large, so the Node.js Foundation, I had kind of said, well, Node was the only project. That was kind of half true. Node had at one point attempted an incubation program to bring more projects in, and the Express project and the libuv project were 2 of those projects that came in to the Node.js Foundation. I personally, and I can't speak for how other people feel, I don't feel that program was very successful. But while we were merging, we have to make sure all projects are accounted for. And both libuv and Express primarily wanted to just continue operating the way that they were, to be able to not have anything day-to-day change, and perhaps have a bit of a better idea of what resources were available to them, such as CI or legal counsel or PR and marketing in case they needed it, but they mostly just didn't want anything to change. And by coming in as an at-large project, these 2 projects, which were mostly on Rails doing their own thing, as far as I know, and I'm saying this because we just haven't heard anything from them, like it seems like everything's going fine and there's been pretty much no change day to day. And so to me, I see a lot of these projects as you do your thing the way you want to do your thing, and we're here to support you when you need it. And one of the really big things I think we'll want to be doing in the near future is codifying and making it far clearer what resources are available, how to get access to those resources, and how to create programs for new resources if they're not available yet.
Yeah, I think we're much better set up now to deal with and cope with the different the different requirements or different aspirations that each project will have, as opposed to being part of the Node.js Foundation where you're really a small part of a bigger project.
Do we want to talk a little bit about the membership structure and how how representation works at the layer above the CPC?
Sorry, can you just repeat that?
Do you want to talk about? I'd love to hear a bit about the membership structure and the layer and how the CPC interacts with the rest of the org a little bit.
I think, Adam, just let me know if you're wrong. You're asking about how is the CPC formed and what's the structure of the foundation on the community side? I'll start.
Yeah, sure.
One thing that is really important, and this is the only thing I really wanted to say, is that the board, which you're seeing over on the left-hand side, which is made up of a number of different members from corporate entities, as well as up to 3 community members. Right now, it is 3. It will go down to 2 soon. There's governance bylaws. Grab me. I'll explain. But that group is responsible for the things that you see listed there. They do not have authority over anything else. The rest of the day-to-day operations of the foundation that you see under the Cross-Project Council, as well as the day-to-day technical governance of projects, is completely air-gapped. Now, the board and projects can work together on things. It doesn't mean that we are not partners. But what it does mean is that the foundation cannot install people into a project.
Yeah, I think a good example here that I can provide is what happens if a code of conduct violation happens with someone on leadership in one of the projects. One would hope that a project would be able to manage that conflict themselves and resolve it. It's really hard to have to enforce those policies on someone that you've worked with for years, that you've seen work really hard, but that you're seeing disagreements on. So, by experience, we've seen this sort of happen, that you could end up having it saying okay, board, we need you to provide an answer because we don't really know what to do here and we know you have experience in it. And the board, instead of saying, okay, you're going to do this thing, It's instead saying, we're going to help you provide resources and we're going to work with you together to figure this out, but ultimately you're responsible for this work. We just want to be here to guide you and provide the monetary resources, the legal resources to help resolve that together, and hopefully we'll be better for that in the long run.
I was going to say, so taking on from the board participation, we then have voting members which are elected. We have 2 from each of the impact project. So, and it's up to the project to decide how they want to elect those representatives. We also have 2 which represent all of the non-impact projects, although this year as a bootstrap, we accepted everybody who wanted to participate at that level into the CPC, which I think is really great because we want to kick off with as many people as we can involved in helping to move things forward. And then we actually can have an additional 2 voting members who are elected from the regular members. So if we see some people who haven't been elected by an individual project but are doing a lot of work and really helping to move the CPC work forward, they can actually be elected as voting members as well.
Thank you. Well, we're coming up on time here. Off stage at some point. So I just want to go rapid fire, starting with Miles. If people leave here with one takeaway from this panel, what would you like it to be?
You don't have to do this alone.
Oh. Succinct, I like it.
You can applaud for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
So I think I'm really excited to see how we're going to be able to, again, as Miles and we've said, this excitement from the summit this week prior to JSConf EU, it was awesome to get to see all of these folks stepping up from the JS ecosystem saying, we're excited, we didn't know that there's a possibility here. So getting able to do things like take the work that we've done in Node and get to talk to people in other groups in the ecosystem or in the projects currently now in the foundation to get to work together on these things. It's exciting to see the opportunity that we have now in JavaScript to be able to work together on this stuff, even from helping more on the standard side.
Yeah, for me, it's all about new opportunities, and that I see a lot more new opportunities for us to collaborate together, to have a greater impact across projects, and to achieve bigger things. We have an opportunity to achieve things we wouldn't have been able to achieve on our own. So it's about new opportunities across all the different aspects.
I have 37 things I'd like to share with people, but bearing in mind that we have a minute and a half left. I think the first thing that I'd like to take away, for y'all to take away, is that there's a lot of opportunity for you to give impact in what services the OpenJS Foundation provides to your projects. And you can do that by following along with our work on the OpenJS Foundation GitHub organization, the Bootstrap, it's actually called the C Cross Project Council repo now. If you have an idea for something that would be helpful to you as a member of one of our projects or as a potential member of one of our projects, please write a proposal or open an issue on that and start following along with our meetings and that sort of thing on YouTube and our weekly meetings there. We have a great new email list. You can start to receive these weekly emails from us that sort of summarizes what's going on. We have the JS Foundation Slack channel, which I'll change over to the OpenJS Slack channel eventually. So there's a lot of opportunities to start having these conversations together, and you can make a difference. You can, come, and I can't wait to see you there.
Wonderful. And I just want to say I saw a lot of this collaboration between projects starting at the most recent Collaborators Summit, which was actually right before this conference. We got people from across the new OpenJS Foundation together. It was historically just a Node event, but the conversations that actually happened in the hallway and in talks are things that I could only dream about. We build amazing things on the internet together. We build amazing things with JavaScript together. And like Miles put it, we don't have to do it alone, and we do it better together. So definitely go and get involved. We are up on GitHub. You can go to the website. Thank you all for coming to this panel.
Thank you.
Thank you.